there are still places where the wilderness decides the pace. Places without roads, crowds, or easy access, where every day is shaped by the land, the weather, and the water beneath your canoe. Over the next 12 days, John from Lost Lakes and I will travel deep into the boreal forest to explore a remote river canyon that has been largely lost to time. Very little is known about this route, and in an old report, the warning was simple: severe travel obstacles and minimal campsites. Beyond that, we would have to discover the rest for ourselves, because in the wilderness, the plan is only the beginning. Oh no! John pinned. John pinned. So pack your gear, climb into the canoe, and join us as we spend 12 days exploring one of Canada's wildest landscapes. After about 32 hours of driving, I made it to Thunder Bay, where I'm going to be meeting John for the first time. Nice to finally meet you in person.
Yeah, you too, man.
Yeah.
Stoked?
Yeah, you're much taller than I thought.
Yeah?
Yeah. All right, guys. Drove here from Nova Scotia over a little over 3 days to meet up with John for the first time in, we've known each other for about 10 years now. And this is our first hookup in person, so it's great to finally get out with him. We're in northwestern Ontario, John's backyard. Oh, it's been raining on and off so far. It's just those big cumulonimbus clouds coming through. And it's sunny again. There's a little riffle up there, it looks like. First of the trip!
Lovely.
What's your hunger level at now?
Hunger level is reaching an 8.
Wow.
You?
Exponential growth.
Pierogies are calling. Got a couple cold ones.
Yeah, well, I do think that sounds like campsite should be soon then.
I think so.
On our map, this is the campsite, but access is sort of steep. And we've seen some better ones, so we're gonna carry on. It's about 5 o'clock. John's hunger level was 8 30 minutes ago, so who knows now. We're on the Weaver River, heading downstream looking for camp for the night. There's a little bit of juice down there. I'd Eddie out here. Biggest set so far, coming up. Good recovery.
A huge cramp because I was going on.
What do you think?
Get out and have a look.
Let's take a boo. Fire pit. It's a stash of wood. This might be home for the night.
Yeah.
Look at this. The skull. That is a big moose jaw. There's always a sense of fear at your first night at camp that you forgot something really important. And looks like I brought my tent, which is great. Sleeping pad. Oh! I had a panic attack. I forgot my sleeping bag. Crisis averted. So John brought us a little treat for this trip to start us off.
First we've got Forgotten Lake. It's from Kenora, just down the highway a few hours. 7% beer, so woo, get us nice and jolly. Couple of Forgotten Lakes.
Cheers.
Start us off. Cheers, man. Thanks so much for driving out.
The camping up there it's pretty good. But what makes this site awesome is the kitchen area. In Nova Scotia, we don't have a lot of exposed rock, and I love getting back on the Canadian Shield because you get to have a lot of open space at camp. John's famous backwoods pierogies.
Not done yet. Chives from the garden.
Oh, buddy. All right, guys, I'm gonna try my luck at some fishing. Let's see, first cast of the trip. Fish on. First fish of the trip, let's go. These are great eating fish. If you're fishing a new body of water and you're not really sure what to fish, a chartreuse jig head with a white jig tail is a great spot to start. Very versatile lure, and you can catch a lot of different fish species with it. Today it looks like we paddled about 7K, which isn't that much in the grand scheme of things, but it was still a long day. John and I met this morning at around 9:30 and didn't get on the water until like 3 p.m. As well as the last 3 or 4 days I was driving here. It was actually longer than that because I stopped in Toronto for a wedding. So it's been a hectic few days leading up to today. So stoked to be back on the river, hanging out with John for the first time on a grand trip too. We were out here for about 12 days. John was saying today was going to be, or today and the next couple days are the least scenic of the trip. And if that's the case, we're in for a treat. Lots of black flies. This is my den. I've been asked in the past about why I don't use a hammock. And one of the main reasons is I really like having everything spread out around me. I like to be able to access my water, my maps, my clothes. This is the same tent I would use for a trip where I'm sharing a tent with someone. It's a 3-person tent, which is great for 2 people or 1 person. It packs down, it's light, it's not the most durable, and I wouldn't trust it in a big storm. But overall, it's the right trick for the job for something like this. Anyways, guys, I think that's about it for the evening. We'll see you guys tomorrow. Morning.
Morning. Did you get to sleep quick at least?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like my entire sleep schedule is like shifted a bit.
Yeah. The wedding will do that, eh?
Yeah.
All the way?
Yeah.
Holy cow. That's a lot of Joe.
John and I were both up at like 4:30 this morning. So we were up way before the sun. Today we have potentially a hard afternoon. We're gonna continue working our way down this river to a couple class 2 rapids. And then by around lunch, we're gonna be hitting the height of land where we're gonna be taking a mystery portage through a burn. That's about a half a kilometer. Burn portages notoriously are pretty tough. It's just not a good time. But at least we can work our way into this because we have what looks like a morning of very scenic paddling ahead of us.
That bird there goes like a veery kind of thrush. Thrush calls are my favorites. It's beautiful. It's just so ethereal. There it is again. And lots of hermit thrushes here too.
What's the sound of a hermit thrust?
I could not imitate it.
We're approaching the Class 2 Rapid, which might be the biggest one of the trip. Class 2 Plus. The set we ran yesterday was unmarked, and that was a pretty decent rapid, so John saw this one on satellite. This is one of my favorite feelings, is approaching a rapid and the sound gets louder and louder, but you can't see it.
You like that?
Yeah.
Makes me nervous. You know, whenever you botch a rapid, you don't feel great going to the next one. But as soon as you get back up on the horse and have a successful run, then you feel even better. I just hope it is a nice rapid and we can actually run it, because this is not terrain you want to bushwhack through.
No. On the channel, you guys have seen I've ran a lot of rapids, but the more remote I am, the more risk adverse I am. Because out here, if we wrap a boat, we're going to be in a lot more trouble than if we were right beside a road. And we're on day 2 of a 12-day trip, so precaution is required. We're going to go scout this one. There's a bit of a constriction that we can't really see, and we just want to make sure we know what we're getting into before we commit to the send. I love these sets, like these scrubby shorelines, intimate.
Looks pretty good.
See a line?
Yeah, I think so.
It looks like there is a line, pretty much straight down in the middle, follow the main flow. Whew, that was fun. So there's something about today. I told John this morning, I think we're gonna see a moose today. What did I tell you?
You did. Did you say you dreamed? Yeah, and then just before this rapid, I was like, feels moosey in here.
It drops off pretty significantly here, so John and I are just gonna pull the boats over some grass.
This is quite a perspective here.
Thank you, sir.
Welcome.
John just scouted this rapid with the drone. It's very long, and it's pretty rambunctious. You ready for this one?
Yeah.
All right, let's do this. Little sketch. All right, let's see if there's a fish after these rapids. Fish on. Beautiful. That'd be a perfect eating one for later, but it's still too early. We still got a big portage ahead of us. Little snot rocket. Beautiful. For this trip, John offered up his 15-foot skiff prospector for me to use. This is a boat I'm super familiar with. I have one back home as well. This is the longest trip that I've done in a solo boat before, and I could easily fit 2 weeks of food and gear in here. John did some mods as well. He removed the front seat, which is a play, and installed a thwart instead. So this is custom made for solo paddling. You can see multiple handprints on the wall. I wonder if this one's been documented before, because it's not in any of our notes. There's more pictographs here. There's like a man in a canoe here. We knew we'd be coming up to pictographs at some point on this trip, but we didn't expect they'd be here. From my research, it's culturally appropriate to present an offering if you're going to be viewing or documenting a pictograph. Traditionally it's tobacco, so that's what I brought. Pictographs are ancient indigenous artwork that could be over 1,000 years old. The paint has withstanded the test of time, and part of that is the placement of the pictographs are usually on underhanging cliffs. The paint they use is a mix of clay, sand, iron oxide, and fish oil, which also withstands the test of time apparently. These rocks are part of the Canadian Shield, which is some of the oldest rocks we have in Canada. They're anywhere from 2 to 4 billion years old, and lots of northwestern Ontario is Canadian Shield. It makes for great camping, great views, dramatic cliffs, and we're just getting started. John, there's an animal crossing the river. Yeah.
What a gem!
John keeps saying this is the worst part of the trip. And so far it's exceeded expectations. We're approaching the Height of Land portage over to the Blue Boy River. The Height of Land portage from our notes is pretty rough. It's an old burn and it's about 500 meters in a straight line. It looks like John found some sort of route up here. What's your optimism with this portage?
My bet is that it's deceiving here and it's gonna get bad in the burn.
There's an access point here and John found some plastic, but it quickly just disappears. So we're gonna walk a bit, see if we can find any remnants of the trail because we don't want to get off it and get lost in this thick bush. 500 meter bushwhack is gonna take hours and we're gonna try to avoid that the best we can. Likely rough and maybe a pure bushwhack at this point. Are these your words?
Yeah.
Like I'm not following any human signs here, more just an opening.
Or we went up the rock slope.
Okay.
If we stayed down, it looks a little like reasonable.
This is something.
Wow. Yeah, that's got to be a saw cut.
Yeah.
Like definitely 2 more cuts here.
Oh yeah.
And then this is also pretty clearly a bit of a corridor.
Hell yeah.
Ooh, man. That could be a lifesaver.
Yeah. We think we found a bit of a trail, or at least the original trail. So we're gonna start working our way across.
Get the bow to your right. Oh, sorry, you're back to your left. My bad. No, you can't.
Ah. What? What's that?
You okay?
Yeah. Just chilling. Yeah, this is rough in here.
Like I cleared that 10-meter stretch in 10 seconds. It wouldn't take us that long.
That's what happens when you don't clear, folks.
As advertised.
Let's do it.
Yep.
All right, guys, we're gonna take out the saws and start clearing. A younger me would have said, nah, let's just drag the boats through. But this is the much better thing to do for our shoulders and back. Moment of truth. Hey! Nice. This seemed unrealistic about an hour ago.
Oh wow. Yeah, I know. But I still have most of the loads to get through and still a lot of clearing, but
Oh, the bugs, the black flies love this.
yeah, coming on. That was one of the tougher portages that I've done in a while. Definitely the strategy of taking our time and cutting down a trail saved us a lot of energy, even though it took a little longer. And we got a few more of those portages along this route. We're just getting started. Good access.
Yeah. You can have a safe fire close to anywhere. I'm just in love with this thing. Like, I don't even bring fuel anymore. It weighs 5 pounds, which is a lot for a stick stove, but for what you get out of it, it's worth it every gram.
You guys know that I appreciate good produce and fresh ingredients on my trips, but when you're on an extended backcountry trip, you can't always bring fresh food. So I usually dehydrate my own meals at home. Tonight I'm going with a lentil sweet potato curry and a coconut crunch topping. I find dehydrated food, they all kind of taste like mush, and texture is really important on a long trip. So I love adding a little crunch on top to keep it fresh out here. These meals are designed to be in between 800 and 1,000 calories per serving.
Well done.
That's pretty good.
That's a delicious curry.
It's been an action-packed day. Started with the rapids, moose encounters, that hairy portage to start the trip. I always say you need one rugged moment to switch your mind into trip mode. And for me, that portage did it. First full day of the trip. Feels good to be out here. Feels good to be hanging out with John, Northwestern Ontario. We got a full trip ahead of us still. We'll see you guys tomorrow.
Where's my coffee? I'm panicking.
What are you having for breakfast this morning? Garlic bread, pasta, beans.
I'm gonna do a freeze-dried meal of
Okay.
pasta.
You're a crazy man.
All the meals that you think you have to eat for breakfast or for lunch, that's all a social construct. It's all just macronutrients.
I appreciate your outlook on meals, but I'd have to disagree.
You're a square, man. You gotta expand your mind.
So John has opted for the burrito bowl breakfast, which sort of makes sense.
Perfectly normal. There's nothing wrong with that. I only eat burrito bowls for breakfast. You're gonna be jealous. Smell that. Smell it, folks.
Smells pretty good. There's a fish biting at the stick, and he just hit my jig. A pike. Might have been the calm before the storm this morning. As we're having breakfast, it was getting darker and darker, and it started raining. We camped somewhere on Blue Boy Lake, and we have 3 constrictions to make our way into the park on Tommy Howe Lake. Yeah, I should mention this park is not maintained, so the portages might not be any better once we get there. They're blue lines. I'm a little optimistic that we might be able to do something on them, but realistically, probably not.
You know what this is? Do you?
No.
You don't?
No.
Travel bidet. Fill it up with some nice purified water. You can stay nice and hygienic out in the bush.
You just squeeze that and there's a jet stream at your butt. Wow. You're a man of systems. That's what I've learned. You enjoy a good system.
You've assessed me perfectly. I often think I should have run a factory because I just love systems and efficiency.
All right, just packing up the boats here. Depending on if I'm going to be doing a lot of paddling on lakes versus whitewater, I'll set up the boat a little differently. In solo whitewater, you want all your weight in the middle of the boat, which allows you to pivot a lot easier, dodging rocks. But when you're on a lake and there's a lot of wind, today's a bad example, you want to extend your weight to have a little more weight in the bow and the stern, and that helps with tracking. So today, I'll put my big bag, my big dry bag, in the front of the boat compared to yesterday when I had it in the middle. Coming up to the end of the lake, there's a blue line with a contour line through it. Probably a no-go, but we'll see. The creek is just way too shallow, and now we just got to figure out what's the best route. It's looking thick here. There's two options. There's two little fingers that extend off this lake. I'm going to explore here a bit. John's going to go check out the other finger to see if there's any signs, or at least bush that we could blaze a trail through. There are signs of the original forest fire that came through here. So all this forest here is regen, and that generally means there's going to be a lot more small trees that are close together, making portaging difficult. Anything?
So, no sign of a trail, but at the back there's like some workable woods. It doesn't even need sawing, like the undergrowth is not that bad.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. Wow, that's a big poop.
Who put that tree there?
Yes.
Yeah, it looks like an arrow pointing up. Although maybe it's a person and like their arms, and it's just kind of eroded and exfoliated, as you would say.
Nice. It seems like anytime we come to a narrowing with a large cliff, we're seeing pictographs. We didn't imagine we'd see so many. We have one location marked on the map, a couple days away, but there's a lot here. It's a pretty special spot. Looks like we have two small portages until we get to Tommy Howe Lake. The one up ahead looks like it's at the bottom of this lake. And again, we're following a blue line. This is also a great segue to let you know that I'm stoked to share that this video is sponsored by CalTopo, which is a mapping software that I've been using for years now. With CalTopo, I plan, make, and print custom-made maps for my backcountry adventures. With their online tools, you can do all the simple things like track distance, cross sections of elevation, as well as a lot of other cool features that I've just scratched the surface on. But one of the main reasons I love using them is I can make custom maps of different size and scale of my route. With CalTopo, you can also collab. For this trip in particular, John made a route and sent me the URL, and I was able in real time to make edits, add waypoints, which is great, especially when you're planning trips with your buddies. Overall, I'm a big advocate of CalTopo, and right now for my viewers, they're offering a 25% discount for your first year subscription. Head to caltopo.com and use code OTTER25 at checkout. The link is in my description. Hope you guys tap in. It's a great resource. Now back to the video. John might have found an old trail on River Left. here at a decent trail. Enough that it's gonna stay open for a few years anyways. The factors for a bushwhack are time and energy. Sometimes you want to spend more time to spend less energy. And the older I get, the more I appreciate time over energy spent. Thank you. For my lunches on these longer trips, I tend to always go with the same stuff. I start off with a meat and cheese wrap and then transition to a peanut butter and some sort of sugar sauce.
Define sugar sauce.
I usually always go jam. That's a sugar sauce, but now I'm going honey.
I've never heard that term.
We had a quick bite to eat before this last portage to the next main lake. And the bottom of this lake has tiered beaver dams, and it drops off quite significantly. Beavers are known as the engineers of the woods, and you can see why. It would take a lot of structural stability to hold back this much water. What do you see?
There's a good start. It gets not good. So I think we just commit to it and start clearing.
Okay. The power of blazing a trail. It's a much better option. All right, guys, we're on a big lake, so we get to paddle for about 4K. One of the only trip reports we could find on this route, they started where we started and they went about 75 kilometers in 8 days. At first glance, that seems very slow, but after seeing what these portages are like, it makes sense. And that's why we're out here. We're out here to explore, to check out the old canyon. Ah, beautiful little lake here. Just pulled over for a water break. We've been noticing in this lake, or this entire watershed, there's a lot of these little bugs that are suspended in the water, and it's near impossible to get some water without collecting thousands of them.
Catch and release.
Oh man, this is what we want.
We needed that.
We're officially on Ottertooth Creek, and this is the creek where the big canyon is. Approaching the next blue line. Drops off quite a bit.
Putting it in right here?
Yeah. All right, a little more work. Time to celebrate. Fish on. What do we got? Pike. Biggest of the trip so far. Look at that. Look at that, it's bug free.
Just their urine and feces.
That's not filtered?
I don't know. I would think urine is the same as water.
Yeah, she drops down quite a bit. little bit of a pump and grind there. I don't know how John's gonna fare with the Novacraft. He's going for it. Not bad. I think I just casted it right into a fish's mouth as soon as it hit the water. Oh, wow. This thing has scars all over its body. It got bit by a bigger fish. John, you don't want to shore lunch tonight, yeah?
Probably not for me. Unless you do.
No. Considering it's going to be a late night anyways. Yep. Yep. Oh, this feels like a pike. A lot of fish in here. Oh! Broke off. Pike have really sharp teeth, and if you don't use a leader, there's a high probability you're gonna break off at some point.
Another picto.
It's 7:30. It's gotten pretty quiet and dark, so we're thinking rain is on its way. This lake is pretty steep, and there's not many campsite options, so we're gonna take whatever we can get. Yeah. I don't know how many more options we're gonna have
Yeah. I know.
before it gets too late, so. If it's a make work,
Why don't we just do a loop up to there where there's a lot of rock? If there's nothing, we come back.
okay.
This would be much preferable.
Let's see if we can make it work.
Woo-wee. What a treat.
We got really lucky with this campsite. There was that one mediocre one. John wanted to go around the corner, and luckily we did because we stumbled upon this premier campsite.
You hungry?
Starving.
Oh man, it's gonna be good.
2 tent pads, good kitchen area, water access. Doesn't get better than this, folks. Famous falafel wraps.
Which I got from Noah.
Well, I didn't do it like this. You've like totally upgraded it.
Oh, hardly.
John gave us a little dessert scotch.
Cheers.
We were on the water for about 12 hours today. Over the course of 12 days, we need to average about 14 kilometers per day to finish the trip. John has a hard deadline at the end, so it's important that we finish in these 12 days. At face value, 14K does not seem like a long day, but it's because these portages do not exist. So because of that, 14K is turning out to be quite a bit of a push. All that said, it was a long day, but it was a good day. This campsite's been the best yet. My belly's full of falafel and scotch. I'm ready to hit the hay. We'll see you guys tomorrow, bright and early for day 4. John brought this nifty little firebox on this trip, which is pretty great. Makes fires really clean, and you can cook and boil really fast. It's also great when you're not the one carrying it because it's about 5 pounds. Get your pants all sewed up?
Yep, quick and dirty.
Looks pretty good.
I have no idea. Probably just a stick got in it on a portage and then it continued ripping. I actually caught my boot in the hole a couple of times and that didn't help. So, yeah.
John and I are quite similar, but we also have very drastic differences. For example, John loves his instant coffee, and I'm more of a French press guy. It's fun going on trips with different people because you learn different ways of doing things in the backcountry, but I would never pick instant coffee over fresh coffee.
Not any instant coffee. You gotta be choosy.
And which one do you choose?
Nescafe Gold I like. Aaron and I actually drink it at home. Yeah. I think we can get to the edge of the canyon today.
I was thinking that too. We're about 12K away.
Is that all?
Yeah.
Okay.
John has this great map that shows the entire route. Started here and we're ending here. And this section is the real unknown. This is all those nasty portages, as well as the big canyon, which we're going to be seeing later today. Then we got a lot of lake paddling on Obonga Lake, which is at about the same distance as what we've done so far. And then ending it on Lake Nipigon, which is really exciting for me. I've heard a lot of good things about here. But I love a trip that has diversity, and this one has a lot of everything. And then Lake Nipigon is going to feel like ocean-like paddling. Great route selection, John.
Yeah, thank you. It's going to be a memorable one. You want some pasta?
Maybe tonight. Today the goal is to get to the canyon on the Ottertooth Creek. This entire trip was designed around exploring this canyon. There's a pretty gnarly portage to get into it, and we've been dreading it. It looks like by this evening we should be getting there, and perhaps we could start blazing a trail for tomorrow. Looking at the contours, it's pretty deep. I can only imagine what it looks like. Looking at the map, we may also not have any significant portages to get to there. From yesterday, a lot of the blue line is runnable or at least navigable. Something down there.
Yeah, volume's building.
We got some wood downriver here that I'm gonna try to clean up a bit. Those are my two cuts, and that's an older cut there. Oh yeah, it's a bit of a cascading set here. Too steep to run, but potentially a line.
Building slowly.
Making good progress this morning. There's not many obstacles, so we've just been cruising. But soon enough, we're going to be cruising for a bruising, which is the canyon portage.
Say that, and I was like, no, that's too stupid. So the shower's passing, sun's coming out a bit, and we're looking for the rainbow. The sun's over there. The rainbow is always going to be away from the direction of the sun. So if I'm looking there for the sun, the rainbow should be somewhere in that direction.
I never knew that. Ooh, what was that? Walleye are schooling fish, and they tend to school with the same size. Tonight we're not going to have a fish fry because we want to eat down to the barrel a bit because we have that big portage. But good to know that this river is healthy because we definitely want to have a few fish fry dinners. Seems bigger. Oh, yes. It's a good size one. You don't have your forceps on you, do you?
I can get them out very quickly.
Sweet, thank you, sir.
Run.
I guess that's the beauty of going barbless, eh?
Yeah.
Yeah. So we're sort of on schedule to get there in the afternoon and maybe scout tonight. Do some clearing, possibly. We counted 5 contours that we're going to be going down, so we know it's going to be super steep and rocky, and rain's coming in a couple of days, so that's another reason to make haste tomorrow and this evening.
While the sun shines.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's looking a little messy up here. This bend just collects driftwood. Look at all that. A lot of blind corners with all these fallen trees. It's always good to you know, double check before you take a blind corner. You're good here. The character of the river has changed quite a lot over the last couple days. We've sort of left the cliffs behind, and the river winds through a bit of a cedar swamp. We're making our way to the canyon portage, which we should be at in a couple hours' time. We're definitely going to be laying eyes on it to see what we have in store. We're pretty confident we got to the portage. Narrow constriction into this intimidating drop here. We would not want to drop into this because, one, it's tempting, of course, but two, you can see how much it drops off and constricts. And if we get partway down and get cliffed out, we're in trouble. From John's notes, the portage is on river left. One of the markers is a weird looking big rock, which seems to be this one right here.
Oh, this is exciting. How are we looking? It's goat pathy, but signs of use.
Yeah, what's the play here? Just kind of secure ourselves and start walking with the saws?
Yeah, and look for somewhere to camp. Hopefully not far away. There's really no option here. Well, I could put a tent there and I could hammock somewhere. You just clear out those lower limbs. That's a pretty decent tent pad.
Yeah, 3:45, so we got ample time. There's a bit of a trail here. It's overgrown, but it's enough that if we could just keep an eye on it, feels like we're just in the brush. And then you look down and you see some cut wood. So we are on track here. We brought 2 saws for the occasion, knowing that we'd be doing a lot of clearing. And now we're perhaps this way.
You all right?
Yeah.
If anything, we want to start curling that way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We've gone pretty far.
Yeah, we're
2/3 almost.
through here.
We're starting to descend. We think the main set of the waterfall is right there. It's pretty rugged. Pretty rugged terrain. We definitely want to be sure of this before we bring the boats down.
I guess it's pretty dangerous right here.
Dead end. The cairn signs that we need to descend. Ugh.
That could be our path down right through here, eh?
Yeah. Wow. I think that's the route.
Oh my god.
Am I bleeding?
Oh yes.
They nailed me.
Helps your blood clot.
Say I got shot in the side of the head.
Okay. First look. That's gorgeous.
Oh man. Wow.
Yeah. You're good and bleeding again.
I feel it. I can't wait to be down here with all our stuff.
Oh, it's gonna be a good feeling.
All right, well, we pseudo did the portage.
Yeah. Yeah, we got a lot of work left.
It's tomorrow. On the way back, we can just clear it up a bit, but hardest part is the final 100 meters.
Yeah. That's gonna be rough.
All right, 2 hours in. We cleared a pretty decent trail. We're both dehydrated and getting pretty tired. So we're just working our way back, tagging a few trees to make sure we got the route, and whew, feeling pretty accomplished after that. But look at this trail. You can definitely follow it. 80% of this trail is on relatively flat ground. The final 20% is the real juicy part.
Oh,
hell yeah.
We're back.
Ah, yes. Oh, that wind is nice. And the bugs got really bad near the end.
Oh, yeah.
4.6K of recon. I'm so glad we did that today, because just that gassed us. As well, we got a little dehydrated too. We didn't bring any water with us, and the bugs just lit us up. But it's good to have that done.
Yeah.
For dinner tonight, we're going with a Southwest style beans and rice and lentil with cheese and a crispy plantain chip on top. This is the first time I'm trying this recipe as well. Dinner is served, John.
Well done. I'm gonna need this recipe too. I've got to make a little room for Noah here.
Yeah, we were not hopeful about a good campsite coming up here, so this is not too bad.
No.
Luckily, John brought both a tent and a hammock for this very situation. I'll show you his rig over here. And you just float. If you watch his channel, you know he rocks this pretty frequently. I've never used a hammock, but I tested his out and it's really comfortable. This morning we paddled about 12 to 13 kilometers to get to this canyon. And this afternoon, we made some great progress cutting out a route for tomorrow. We imagined it could be a lot tougher than it was, so we're super grateful that we were able to do the full clearing this afternoon. And tomorrow morning, wake up bright and early before it gets too hot. First glance of the canyon looks absolutely gorgeous. There's the one waterfall that we're portaging around, and then there's another waterfall coming in from another creek that we're gonna go check out. It's gonna be a good time. And I think that's it for us tonight. We have a big day tomorrow. We'll see you then. How are you feeling this morning?
A little groggy. I woke up at 5, didn't get back to sleep, and just getting raw from the trip. But excited to get into the canyon. It'll be good.
On this trip, John and I are sharing dinners, but we're also sharing one breakfast each. Well, I was expecting a dinner for breakfast, but John's being nice and cooking us up a breakfast skillet, and John's gonna try the famous bushwhackers oats at some point.
Got these dry hash browns. You just pour hot water into here. And then we've got dried whole egg. This is a dozen eggs here, believe it or not. Sriracha, ketchup, and chives.
John, if you had a breakfast restaurant, what would you call it?
Johnny's Diner. It's classic. Not trying to impress anybody. Simple
quick.
fare. The tomatoes have some water weight, but
Just getting ready for the big portage. We've talked it out, we have a strategy. We know the trail exists because we made it yesterday.
oh, this is definitely feeling more manageable now. Timing worked out great for the portage. Like starting it in the morning, it's cool.
The bugs are starting to build, but we think if we keep on moving, we should stay ahead of them. I'm starting with the canoe. John's starting with his packs. Let's get to this.
Mind your foot in here, lots of loose rocks.
You can see the wall of the other canyon.
It says switch back.
I see some cuts here.
Yeah. Yeah, I think this will be the place to start tag teaming the canoes. It's steep. And if you fell here, man. I think you'll have to go on the inside of it.
What a view. Gorgeous.
Mission accomplished.
Mission accomplished.
Oh,
Good work.
wow. Yeah, that feels really good.
Portage done. In our trip notes, they said it was about 650 meters. John tracked it and it was a little over a kilometer, which makes sense. It was a lot of work, but overall not too bad because we did a little bit of a clean yesterday. The black flies are out too. The waterfall is hidden a bit, so we're gonna sneak up, see if we can get a better look. Oh no. It's getting a little too sketch. Going further up, so try to get it with the drone later. All right, first cast. I always have this childlike excitement when I come to a new lake and there's moving water, black water with these bubble streams. I'm always wondering what type of fish might be here. Looking at the maps, there is another waterfall back here. So we're gonna do a little bushwhack back to check it out. And by going back there, we're gonna be outside of the park, which will allow us to fly the drone for a bit. What's that orange stuff up there?
Xanthoria with an X. It's a lichenized fungus. It looks like graffiti almost, but it's everywhere on these cliffs.
The entire north shore of Lake Superior has such a dramatic landscape that is like nowhere else in Ontario. And although glaciation played a large role in carving out the valleys and creating these river basins, the main culprit is an ancient rift system. About 1 billion years ago, Laurentia at the time, the supercontinent, was floating along and floated over a mantle hotspot. And this is where magma was pluming upwards. And it cracked Laurentia in half, and mantle material squeezed its way through the cracks and made its way to the surface. As it did this, it pushed up that crust as well. This is known as a rift system when crust gets pulled apart, but this was just partial. It ended up stopping and healed like a big scar. Today, this large igneous scar is about 3,000 kilometers long, and it's known as the Mid-Continental Rift System, and it runs through central North America. This is the most well-preserved, most well-studied, and the most ancient rift system that we know of. And this is a great example of the type of geology that you see here. Old igneous rock, high relief, and beautiful canyon valleys. We should approach the first set of rapids in the canyon. Looks pretty bony with a lot of sweeper potential, but there might be a little run. We'll see. We knew coming into this route that it was going to be rugged terrain with limited campsites. So really the next good campsite we see is probably going to be us for tonight. I think we can lift over if we take the main gear out.
Oh, what a beautiful spot. We're up here.
It's gorgeous. Yep. How are you doing?
Not bad. Kind of woke me up a little.
But yeah, I think we're on the same page.
Stopping as soon as you see something.
Yeah, just looking at the terrain here, we're gonna have like one opportunity to camp.
Yeah, exactly.
We see the next obstacle right up there. Nice, John's getting through. Okay, what do we got here? End of day, technical lining. We always end up this way. Yeah.
Oh God. Want to just start wading down it so we can get a clear picture?
Compared to what?
I guess that's the only option.
I think so. Would it make sense for you to put your throw rope on
No.
as a line, or are you,
Problem,
do you find your rhythm?
This doesn't slide over a rock, it grips it.
Ah,
And I'm realizing just on this trip why I've never liked lining,
okay.
because it doesn't slide. I don't mind waiting. I've waited all my life. I've waited all my life for this moment.
All right.
This should be the end. After this, cool.
You reckon?
I checked the GPS.
And the final crux of the day. What we want to try to keep is the tail closest to shore. Because if the tail goes out, it's going to want to spin. You could probably go down a bit in a secure spot. Ready?
Nice.
Man, what a day. Jeez.
Oh,
man. That was intense.
Yeah.
That was full on. We were in there for, I don't know how long.
A couple hours?
A couple hours.
Yeah.
Yeah. Trying to find a campsite for tonight. We went back to the beginning of this lake. Nothing, but John might have found something over here.
Now I'm gonna need you to keep an open mind here, but come have a look.
Okay. There's nothing over there.
Yeah.
All right, Jono's found something, so we might have a home for tonight.
It's right against this big boulder, right in there. There'd be barely enough room. You'd have to like stomp down that dead tree there to flatten it out. But
Looks nice.
one option. Option two is right up here. Just take out the tiny shrubs and these little branches.
Oh, that's great.
That's pretty cool, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think this is it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Like barely for a vestibule, but
Barely, but it's gonna work.
oh, that's cool.
Super tight, but it fits. All right, one of my more interesting campsites. Quite the squeeze, but overall, pretty flat and protected from the elements back here. Colors. We have John's famous quesadillas. Quesadillas, look at that fry. Fried bread. Can't go wrong. John lugged that in over the canyon for us. That is good stuff, John.
Yeah.
A+.
Oh, good. And then it's bedtime.
What a day. We're both pretty exhausted. It's about 8:30. The last blue line took us a lot of time and effort. Looking at the map, we have about 2 kilometers of blue line leading to the next significant lake. So tomorrow we have our work cut out for us. But it's through this beautiful canyon, and I've been blown away with how beautiful it is down here. Both John and my satellite phones have limited service down here, and rumor has it the canyons just keep going. So tomorrow looks like we're gonna have another beautiful day in the canyon. But on that note, wrapping it up, we'll see you guys tomorrow. At the base of this lake, we have about 2 kilometers of blue line. And if it's anything like yesterday, we got our work cut out for us. We're gonna take our time and just pick it apart. We don't wanna get ourselves into a situation where we get in trouble, so slow and steady wins the race. All right, John.
Here comes that noise again. What's that awful noise? We're gonna be in it for a few hours here.
First set doesn't look too bad. There's a couple trees in the way. It's still pretty technical. A lot of rocks. Reminds me a lot of Nova Scotia, actually. Ready?
Yeah.
Come on. You got it. Yeah, my only hope is that like it drops in that way.
It might.
The rain has started. These rocks are gonna get super slippery, making this entire operation way more risky. Oh no. John pinned. John pinned. John wrapped his boat. It's pretty bad. I brought the rope. We need to get rope on it. There's a lot of force on the canoe, all that water pushing against it. So we gotta use the mechanics of the water to our advantage somehow. Ideally you wanna pull it to have the base of the canoe upriver rather than the open part of the canoe upriver. But based on how it's sitting, we might have to do the opposite to flip it. We don't have enough force to pull it the opposite way. Awesome.
Throw it back.
You want to pull upstream?
Yep.
And then I want to pull down so you can sort of shift it.
Okay.
If that doesn't work, we're going to throw the line around here and get it to like a sea dragon. And then the both of us are going to pull to try to dislodge it.
Okay. Ready?
Yeah. I think I gotta go upriver. I think I'm pulling it from the wrong direction. 1, 2, go! Just budge.
Get it somewhere. 1, 2, 3.
Ah!
I think I gotta get in there. I'm getting more done in there. Get ready!
So I come there, we pull that way.
Yeah, I'll attach that rope there as well. We both have a rope to pull on.
We've tried a few different techniques and it has moved a bit. It's still really locked in there though. So I'm gonna go over to the other side and try a different pulling direction. A pin kit would have been ideal for this situation. And I know we're gonna get comments that we should have had one. And yeah, we're aware.
Can you grab that one? Grab the slack? Thank you.
How you doing?
Thanks for all your help. Yeah, I'm okay. Yeah, there's initial shock. It's hard to see your boat, had that happen to your boat. Like, you have an emotional connection to your boat too.
Yeah.
Not to mention the fact that we're in a freaking canyon.
Yeah.
But I'm okay. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, just about playing the angles.
Yeah.
Gotta figure out what angle works for us.
Might be alright.
Yeah, she's not cracked yet, eh?
No, you might be able to punch it out and float it.
Okay.
I also have an epoxy kit with fiberglass cloth.
Okay. Step 2 then. Step 1, get her out.
Yeah.
All right, let's do this.
All right. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Hopefully we can stamp this out. I think it'll still float.
Okay, that was a wild ride. What's the damage?
It's pretty ugly, but it didn't puncture. It should float. And amazingly, none of the thwarts broke. Seat, nothing. Gunnels are still pretty straight even. Huh. Little crimp here, but
Not too bad.
wow.
All right, well, we still have a lot of river to do. We're just gonna finish this set and regroup. How far of the 2K have we gone?
Not much. Yeah, it's not a pretty look at the map. We've gone a quarter of the way to Ottertooth Lake, I would say.
It's 2:30. We've gone about a third of the way down this blue line. Just had a little bite to eat, reset. Let's take our time.
That's amazing. What a view.
You could see the high water mark marked on the rock from pollen stains. It's a good 4 feet higher.
Nice and slow. You alright?
Just a second. Can you hold her there?
Yep. That's it.
All right, we'll take that obstacle. Nice change of pace. I think this is a portage, and yeah, very tight, intimidating drop here. Yeah. Oh man. How are we gonna portage this? Unless we can line on river left.
I don't know.
So we got cliffed out. There's a very intimidating waterfall with a sheer cliff on either side. Option one would be to portage, but there's sheer cliff walls and we wouldn't be able to get down the other side. And the alternative is this really sketchy talus on the left side of the river that if we can get to, we could slowly make our way down. This high consequence for sure.
Damn, there's very little room for error there. Like none.
All right, here goes nothing.
Okay.
Yeah. Honestly, I might be able to just use the wall here. That's one of the sketchiest things I've done in a long time. It's the last place you want to be. What's in store next? Looks like it goes underground again. This might be a flat shelf rather than like the chunky talus. The river goes underneath the rocks. This is the second time on this river we've seen this. These portages are gnarly. But you gotta look at these views though, and it all makes sense. All this rounded rock is from water erosion. So you can imagine how high this water is during flood. Down here, it's like another 15 feet. That would be insane. We would die. We would actually die. I'm glad we're not here during that time. John noticed this white discoloration on the rock here. And as we talked about earlier, this rock is an igneous intrusive rock that formed during the mid-continental rift system. And as that magma cooled into the rock, it left voids of air, like air pockets. And later, those pockets would fill with a hydrothermal fluid that is rich in minerals. And then those minerals would precipitate out, similar to a quartz veins. The polishing is from the erosion from the water, but the white looks like there's some crystals in there. I'm not exactly too sure what that is. Maybe a calcite, but interesting to see. We have one more portage into Ottertooth Lake, and John has actually been up to this point before, so we're into familiar territory for John, and it's a sigh of relief too. It took all day. It's coming on 6 o'clock, and we did 2 kilometers of blue line today. I think we can both agree that that was a day to remember. It was a day to remember, and we got out clean somehow. But let's get this portage done, get to camp. I would say in most standards, this would still be considered a treacherous portage. But for us, this is so appreciated. Whew. We're exhausted. It's good to be floating, no more river. The high water mark in this lake is half a foot compared to 15 feet back there. We're coming up to a campsite that John established last year, just down the lake here.
Out comes the wolf juice. It'll be generous portions tonight.
Cheers.
Cheers, man. Thank you.
To surviving the canyon.
Couldn't have got through that without you. Chocolate and scotch?
You're spoiling me. Do that any day. If it's scotch and chocolate almond is a reward.
Should we drop one in?
What are we calling this cocktail?
Oh, is this my Northern Scavenger cocktail movement?
This would be your cocktail.
It's the Scotch Canyon Crunch.
Scotch Canyon Crunch. Yeah, awesome day. That is a day to remember. For dinner tonight, we're going with one of my go-tos. This is probably my most eaten dinner on backcountry trips. Bacon mushroom risotto.
The last dregs.
Round 2 on the Scotch Canyon Crunch.
An encore was requested, and I was happy to oblige. Mind the skeeter.
Thank you, sir. Getting to camp never felt so good. Got some food in us, got some scotch. It was nice to touch ground after a pretty white-knuckle day. 2 kilometers, about 10 hours. It's a lot of work. I don't know how we did it, but we got that boat unpinned, and that was by far the gnarliest pin situation that I've been in terms of the overall extent of the pin and how long it was pinned for. A pin kit would have been really good to have, but you know, sometimes you forget some things, but we did get it off and it floats. It's damaged pretty good, and we'll reassess tomorrow, but I think tomorrow we will be taking a rest day to reset and get a fresh look on the rest of this trip. On that note, it's about 10 o'clock. We'll see you guys tomorrow.
Morning.
Morning.
How you feeling?
Good, how are you feeling?
I feel like I fell down a flight of stairs. And then got trampled by a herd of wildebeest. And then some punk kid came by and kicked me in the nards. Otherwise, great.
Today there's no crux moves, there's no white knuckle paddling. We're just gonna have a rest day. John's been on this lake before and he's gonna show me a couple cool spots. We're gonna bushwhack to a waterfall and then see if we can have a shore lunch. We haven't eaten fish yet on this trip, though we have seen that the fish are plentiful. But some fresh protein is gonna be a nice change. Overall, relaxing day, exploring the land on this beautiful lake that is magnificent. These cliffs are like nothing I've seen before. It's about a 15-minute bushwhack to this waterfall. This is the coolest waterfall yet. And there's a lot of water coming off here. When looking at the map, there's not much of a headwater. Very neat. You can hear a wall of something coming. Looks like the weather's settling in a bit, so we're gonna head back to camp. The weather this evening is supposed to clear up for evening fish dinner.
I think you already made it, basically, but a burrito bowl. Get the last of the produce and a dry black bean mix. Crispy onion bits to finish it off. Don't spoil your fish appetite now.
We had a late lunch, and we're gonna try to catch some walleye for dinner. First fresh fish meal of the trip, hopefully.
It's a big one.
I distinctively remember a very similar pictograph on the blood vein from a few years back. It's interesting to see that the similarities between pictographs in different regions. All right, I just near dumped my camera into the water. This is a test to make sure everything's working. How's the audio? Test, 1, 2, 3. It's on. Oh, come on, buddy. It's a nice size eater.
Yeah. Okay, now we got a good fry.
Yeah.
We got a bag going.
Lunch bag.
Do you mind keeping it in your canoe? Because I got water swimming around in mine.
Yeah. Oh, buddy. Wrapping up a restful day. I think we needed that. The last 2 days were pretty full on, and I think we needed some time to recharge. Tomorrow we're getting up at 5:30 before the sun because we have a big day of paddling ahead of us. As we leave the canyon, we're heading into the big lakes. Tomorrow we're going to be hitting Obonga Lake, which is between 25 and 30 kilometers long. So lots of paddling ahead of us, and the next chapter of the trip awaits. We'll see you tomorrow. So you guys know I love my bushwhackers oats in the morning, and John has never tried these before. A lot of the times my tripping partners can't finish it because it's such a heaping serving, but we're gonna see how John enjoys the flavors and the volume.
I don't think I can do this. Oh boy.
No one's ever complained about the flavor, more so the volume.
Yeah.
He's done it, folks. It's great to see a clear path. We got a few carries to get to the main leak. All right, it looks like this last carry is runnable. We just weighted down John's boat and I'm gonna run it. A little bony, but not too bad, not too bad. Oh. All right, similar situation to yesterday, 2 days ago. The direction is really important here. Could have been a close call. All right, time to focus. Woo, baby. So we had a really early morning because today's a big paddling day. We did a couple portages, a line, I almost pinned the boat, and now we're on Obonga Lake, which is the second biggest lake of the strip. It's about 25 to 30 kilometers long. The unfortunate news is I'm gonna be continuing alone. John's boat has just taken too much of a beating over the last few days.
Yeah, this boat needs to be taken out and repaired. It's leaking constantly. The float tank is leaking, and I've got my grandfather's funeral on what would be day 13 of the trip, and we definitely need 12 days to do this trip. So that would mean cutting it very close. And on Nipigon, you're just not in charge of the timelines. So I've already seen the west coast of Nipigon and I absolutely adore it, which is why I wanted to show Noah. So I'm just really excited to see his experience. I can't wait to see what happens for you. It's magical.
I'm looking forward to it. It sucks that we couldn't do it together because I think the first half of this trip, or the first 8 days, it's been awesome getting to know you.
Yeah, man. I've enjoyed this so much. It is like really bittersweet to take out here and leave you. Who knows when I'll see you again, but someday I'm sure. Well, we're bonded for life after that experience there.
Yeah,
I can't wait to look back on it. I just remember such emotion. Getting that boat out and punching it out and it still floats, like, I'll never forget that. In the canyon.
All right.
Use with caution, but yeah, we got a long paddle, especially you. Better get to it.
Yeah. John organized the shuttle from his wife, Erin, who's going to be picking him up on this lake. And my car is already at the end, so logistically, it's still quite simple. What do you got here?
I got the milk chocolate almonds. Noah has been very responsive to these as a reward. And I have a small trifle for you. The rest are yours.
I couldn't.
You must.
I can't. These have been cracked to me out here. Oh man, I'm not gonna have any sort of control though, because these are like above my rations.
My friend, bring it in here.
All right guys, John and I just said our farewell. What an awesome guy. We had such a good time together. It's unfortunate that we can't finish this as a duo, but now I still have over 100 kilometers left to complete this route. It's gonna feel like a whole other trip. The camaraderie, of course, but the landscape. There's gonna be a lot of big lake paddling, including the gigantic lake, which is Lake Nipigon. Today I'm trying to get off Obonga Lake. I have another 3 or 4 hours left of paddling. It's 3:30 right now. But luckily, yesterday was summer solstice. In the Northern Hemisphere, that's the longest day of the year, June 21st. And that means it's not gonna get dark until 11 o'clock at night or so here. Earth is tilted on a 23.5 degree angle. And as Earth rotates around the sun, in the Northern Hemisphere, when that North Pole is closest to the sun in rotation, those days are gonna be longer. June 21st, yesterday, was the day where that angle is the closest to the sun as the Earth wraps around. So, that being said, we have a full day ahead of us. It's been a long day so far, but we must go on. As I pass this mound, I've officially paddled an entire map today. Map 4 of 8, 74 of 175 kilometers. Wild to think in the first 7 days, we paddled probably 50K, and then in good weather in one big lake, you can crush 25K pretty easily. Just getting to the end of this lake to see what this carry has in store. Amazing. Happy to see that there is an actual portage here, and it looks to be clear, which is a nice change from what John and I have been going through the last week. Looking at the map, this carries around a river, and this is where I jump on a new river system, which is the Kopka River. My notes show that this carries about 1.4 kilometers, and halfway down there's a small pond with a potential waterfall and maybe a campsite. For today, I want to carry to that little pond to see if I can camp there for the night, which will set myself up nicely for tomorrow. This is right uphill to start. Looks to be fresh moose prints. The mesquites are getting me. Ah, there it is. There's a boat there. I'm gonna drop this. Pretty beautiful spot. I'd call this more of a lake than a pond. That's it for me today. 8 o'clock, man. That's near a 13-hour day. Oh, what a day. I can't be bothered to make dinner tonight. So I'm gonna go a John-inspired peanut butter and honey wrap. I also ate maybe about 100 chocolate almonds today. So my appetite isn't too heavy right now. I'll have to check the distance, but I traveled well over 25K today. It feels good to make some distance unencumbered by the land. This entire trip so far, it's been work just to make a couple kilometers. So it almost felt like being set free, just being able to paddle all day. Tough day, but a different type of tough. Overall, very happy and content. And just looking forward to lying down horizontal. The muskies are bad, man. Needed that though. Yesterday, John headed out, and I'll be carrying on by myself. But part of this trip is we split gear. We split dinners as well as camp gear. So before heading out, John gave me his water filter, tarp, and fillet knife. And for food rations, considering I might be a little longer now, he gave me wraps, some naan, granola, cabbage, fish batter, and an empty bag of chocolate-covered almonds. Gonna have a slow morning and decide if I want to test my luck with the river or take the 700-meter carry, which proved to be decent. After consideration, I'm deciding to carry over rather than risk the blue line. I know this trail exists. After all the paddling yesterday, I don't mind taking my legs for a spin. So here we go, another 700 meters. All right, before we do anything, let's get a cast going. See what this lake has to offer. Today, if all goes well, I should be able to make it to Lake Nipigon for this evening. I still got a few obstacles ahead of me, including some rapids, but if the weather holds, it's gonna be a good day. I just saw a 40+ inch pike in the shallows. Well, I spooked a huge pike in the shallows and I instinctually had to cast at it. Oh, that was big, my heart's pounding. I'm approaching what sounds like a pretty hefty rapid. This rapid also marks where the Armstrong Bridge is, the only infrastructure on this trip. But this rapid looks too steep for me. This rapid is too big for me to run today. Short carryover, that first big set. There's a much smaller one up here, maybe class 2, that I think I can just run. This one looks hairy. I'm going to approach slowly and keep an eye out for a carryover sign. Well, I'm not running this one, so I'm either going to be carrying around, hopefully, or lining. Just looking for a trail now. All this during the spring melt would be underwater. All these roots are exposed because all that dirt's been scoured out. The rocks don't have much moss on them. This river would be a torrent about a month ago. Here it is. I just took out in a different spot, but there is a trail here. Okay. Yeah, that was a pretty hairy set. I'm glad I didn't even line that. I'm glad I just portaged. Sometimes that's just the best thing to do. All right, that should be it for the rapids for a bit. I know I got one more carryover this afternoon going into Lake Nipigon. You might notice on all my canoe trips, I bring 2 paddles. The main reason is, well, it's really easy to lose or break a paddle, and you always want to have a backup. Second is there's different tools for different jobs. The trips I do typically have whitewater and lake paddling, so I bring one for each. This is a bench shaft paddle, and this is the paddle I use on lakes. The bench shaft is meant for energy efficiency because it allows the paddle to be in position in the water for a longer period of time without impacting the cadence of your paddle stroke. On the contrary, my whitewater paddle has a scoop, and it's the opposite of energy efficiency. The purpose of the scoop is for power and to scoop a lot of water in those situations in whitewater when you need to make a critical move. I like having a carbon fiber indestructible paddle because I've broken a lot of wooden ones in the past. And I add a piece of foam. This is a pool noodle, and I add it on all my whitewater paddles. This is meant for if I drop my paddle in the whitewater. It's such a dynamic environment, it's very easy to lose a black paddle. So by adding a float, it helps with a visual, and maybe if it gets stuck in a hole, it'll keep that paddle up so I can retrieve it. These are the 2 types of paddles I bring on all my trips, and it can be different for everyone, but I always suggest bringing 2 paddles. It looks like we're back in that black igneous rock that formed a billion years ago during the mid-continental rift system. A 3,000 kilometer black scar among the Canadian Shield in North America. Approaching the final lake before Lake Nipigon. I know that there's one more carry around a rapid leading into the lake, so still some work ahead of us. Beautiful campsite leaving this lake. By far the best I've seen on the entire trip. It's still a little early, and I'd love to get to Lake Nipigon today. So I'm gonna pass this one up. There's one in a few kilometers that I'm aiming for. Guys, one of the birds, or one of the animals I wanted to see on this trip really badly was a pelican. John said there was a lot on Lake Nipigon, and I think I'm seeing some right now. They look like dinosaurs. That's them. Such odd looking birds. They look prehistoric. There's so many pelicans here. I love it. I love it. All right, if my math's not mistaken, Pelican Portage is the last carryover of the trip, and that's a good feeling. 300 meters. Okay. Famous reveal. There it is. We don't see her in all her glory just yet, but Lake Nipigon waters. And full of pelicans, oh my. I'd love to see it. Let's get the second load and get on the water. Last carry of the trip. Hallelujah, praise the Lord. I want to catch some fish. I want to have a fish dinner tonight. Pelican Rapid, full of pelicans. I wonder if it's because there's some walleye in the outflow. There's so many pellies in this rapid. I'm gonna try to get a photo. Pretty cool. Fish on. Yes. Yes. Oh yes. I got dinner. Hell yes. Oh man, that is a perfect size. Alright, I'm gonna dispatch him before I show you here. Look at that walleye. Perfect eater. Fat. Look at that humpback. I think I just need one guy. I think this is enough. Thank you. Thank you, fish. And there it is, the full glory of Lake Nipigon. This lake is also notoriously known as the 6th Great Lake and the mother of the Great Lakes. And it definitely has ocean-like attributes looking out there. It looks endless. Coming from the Atlantic Ocean, I can definitely see similarities. I'm gonna go try to find a camp. John pointed out a few on this far shore, and he said there is a beach. I'm not seeing any beach, so let's go take a look. It's not the beach I had in mind, but it'll do. Buggy spot though, I'm gonna get a fire going. Pronto. We're going hot honey walleye wraps. The hot honey walleye wraps with some Nova Scotia honey, red pepper flakes, John cabbage, and John wraps. Cheers. This is a first for me. Not awful, but not amazing either. The honey's sort of like a wild card here. 6 out of 10. The other great parts to eat as finger food, these are called walleye wings. My favorite, that's the cheek. It's a little tougher and it tastes like a scallop. And that brings me right back to Atlantic Canada. The batter that John gifted me, excellent. I was just gonna raw dog these with just a little salt and pepper, but these are superior. All right. I was craving fish. That was good. Minus the honey. So right now I'm in a large bay called Wabanash Bay. Out there is the magnificent Inner Barn Island, which I'm going to be checking out tomorrow. Leading up to this trip, I was a little anxious about paddling Lake Nipigon because it is such a big water body. and weather can come up really quickly and you can be windbound for days. But for me today and the next few days, I think the weather's going to be on my side. Leaving this bay, I definitely want to check out Inner Barn Island. And this bay in particular is important to have a good weather window because the peninsula I need to get around is notorious for having bad weather. And I need to gauge at least a 3-hour weather window to get across and around that. But looking at the forecast, it looks like the weather is fantastic over the next few days. And I'm incredibly grateful for that. Last couple days, well, this entire trip has been a lot of work. And every part of this trip has been so different. And I am incredibly excited to spend the next 60 kilometers paddling the coast of Lake Nipigon. It's a magical night. This has been a magical trip. We'll see you guys tomorrow. I woke up way before my alarm. My alarm hasn't even gone off yet, and the tent's already down, coffee's made, and I have a fire. I'm very excited to start the day. Inner Barn Island looks close, but it's over 4 kilometers away, so it's going to take some time to get there. After that, I'll be going around that rough point, but the weather's looking like it's going to stay pretty stable for me. I'm going big on the snacks today. John was telling me that big lakes are named with the lake first before the name. So this is Lake Nipigon, or Lake Nipigon, versus Nipigon Lake. That's interesting. I didn't know that, but it holds true with all the Great Lakes. This body of water also has amazing brook trout fishing. The world record brook trout was caught here. John's largest brook trout was caught here as well, actually in this bay. So I think I'm gonna troll. I'm gonna start with the little Cleo. It might be a little small for this water, but time and time again, this specific spoon has done really well for me. This color and this size. In the lake, you're only allowed single barbless hooks, and we'll see. If this doesn't catch, I might switch to something a little bigger, but I gotta go with tried and true to start. I'm lost for words. I have goosebumps. This is otherworldly. It is classy out. I can't believe how calm it is. There's not a breath of wind. I just took my shirt off quickly just to feel that sunlight. I feel like I've been trapped underneath a bug shirt for days now. The plan is to get about 25 kilometers or so. There's a spot that John said I have to check out, I believe it's called Echo Rock. So that's the destination tonight. I'm gonna take my time, enjoy the scenery, and troll all the way there and eat my 3 snack rations. Lake Nipigon really took form about 10,000 years ago when the ice sheets were melting. This was a big drainage basin and it carved out the overall shape and character of the lake. Again, big part is through glaciation, but we're seeing that black igneous rock from the rift that happened. It looks like Jurassic Park though today, and with those pelicans too. I'm gonna stop soon for lunch on one of these islands. But this is going to be the most relaxing day since day 7, the rest day. I switched to a larger spoon, still nothing, very surprised. I have been seeing some trout rise at the surface. There's a few hatches going on, I saw some mayflies. I was thinking about bringing my fly rod, but it was just more gear to pack, and I opted for just a spin rod. But I can't complain, the fishing has been really great. Just stopped for some peanut butter and honey wraps. And I started hearing some thunder. There's some clouds forming in the distance. Big water bodies can create their own systems. So weather forecasts aren't always going to be accurate. I'll have to keep an eye on those as I continue. Also, for the first time in 10 days, my socks have dried. Look at that undercarriage. No flop. There's a peregrine falcon nesting on the cliff there. She probably has babies, so I'm actually going to stay far away from the cliff. Don't want to disturb her, but that's awesome. John was telling me that this is the fastest animal in the world, and it can go about 300 kilometers an hour. Well, the plan was to camp at Echo Rock, but I didn't see a really good campsite, and I didn't look too hard because I wanted to give that falcon a good buffer. It's also pretty early. I got a nice tailwind. It's a beautiful day. I'm just gonna keep paddling down the shore and go with the wind until something catches my eye. This might have potential. Fire pit there, incredible views, big slab of Canadian Shield, and 4:30, earliest we've got to camp yet. Yeah! Woo! For whatever reason, this site is being the buggiest. So I want to get this fire going to cook with later, but right now just to get rid of the bugs. What I do is I get the fire blazing and then I add punky wood. Punky wood is partially rotten, moist wood that wouldn't be good to burn regularly, but what it does do is smoke a lot. So by putting some of these on the fire, I should smoke out the site. Try your best not to inhale the smoke, it's not good obviously, but to have the peace of mind of sanity from the bugs is my priority right now. On this trip with John, we learned a few things from each other, and we've noticed that we do a few things differently. My dinners are more one-stop shop. You just add hot water and you're good to go. John's takes a little more prep, which I appreciate because there's fresh ingredients, it's hot and fresh, and there's texture. So inspired by John, I'm gonna use half of my meal tonight and make a burrito roll. And like John fashion, I'm gonna fry it up to make it nice and crispy. Plantain chips. Oh yeah, baby. All right, make it presentable. Present it nicely to the audience. A little splash. And there we go. John, this one's for you, buddy. 9.2. This is a winner. This is so good. What a beautiful day that was. I ended up traveling about 30 kilometers and I got to camp around 5 o'clock. So the weather really helped out with getting a productive day out on the water. I love when I get to this part of a trip where it's just zen and you're just paddling along and you're not even thinking about it. I was already starting to convince myself that I wanted to do this crossing tonight, which was another 8 kilometers or so across the bay. And then I would have pushed into the evening for another night and I would have felt rushed. Instead, I had a really enjoyable evening here. Went for a swim, lied down for a bit, cut my toenails, a fresh pair of boxers. It was nice to have a not so rushed evening. And I gotta remember that in the future. I can get into a push mindset and sometimes it's good to pull it back and have a bit of a rest. Tomorrow morning, I will be doing that crossing. You need good weather for it, but it looks like we're gonna have some good weather tomorrow, so I'm not too worried about it. Regardless, I'm gonna get up early before the sun and have a similar sort of morning on the water. I really enjoy that time. We'll see you guys tomorrow. Another beautiful day. Last night was the hottest night of them all. And if it stays like this, it'll probably be the hottest day of the trip. This morning I'm making a 6-kilometer crossing across a bay that I want to avoid. The bay is a fish sanctuary and there's a pelican colony on one of the islands that's protected. I'm so happy to be off that campsite though. Beautiful sight, but the mosquitoes were insane. Last night I woke up a couple times to that symphony of humming. I was so thankful to be in that tent. The last couple days, the first few hours of paddling have been pure bliss. Glass calm, still not too hot, no bugs on the water. It's been the most relaxing part of this entire trip. For the first time ever, I brought honey on a canoe trip. So for lunch today, I want to experiment with flavors on what honey goes with on day 11 in a bear barrel. We got hot honey cheese wraps inspired by the walleye wraps and cheesy peanut butter honey crunch wraps. Let's try them out. We're gonna start with the hot honey cheese wraps. Not bad. 7.8. Now for the cheesy peanut butter honey crunch. I'm a little skeptic about the peanut butter and the cheese. Let's give it a try. Unexpected. 8.3. 8.3. Honestly, a lot of the work's coming from the peanut butter, granola, and honey. And then the cheese just adds a creaminess. Definitely the hottest day of the trip. It's early afternoon, the sun's blazing down, and I think I'm gonna get to camp a little early tonight. Before John departed, he showed me his map of Lake Nipigon that shows some campsites, and there's one on a point coming up that I think is gonna be home for the night. I still have a few hours ahead of me, including one big crossing. Oh, just a log. Just pulling up to a potential campsite. I don't know if you can hear that, but there's a motorboat in the far distance. We're making our way back into civilization. But I need one more night out here. Let's see. Look how cute this is. Wow. Coming up to this, it just looked like thick bush. But this is a proper campsite. I'm also not getting swarmed by bugs. So this is a win. Wow. My summer tripping book, The Wager, recommended by both Tristan and Sam. They said it was great. I loved Endurance, the Shackleton expedition. This is apparently a darker version, but just as insane of a read. I tend to bring a book on all my camping trips, but really don't have much time to read it because at night I fall asleep really fast. So it's either down days or if I get to camp early. So this is a great time to read a chapter. Today is the final full day of the trip. Tomorrow I have about 10 kilometers where I have to paddle around a peninsula to where my car is. Camping on this trip was pretty rugged, and being able to finish with an actual campsite with a tent pad, a rocky outcrop, and an extended evening at camp is a great way to finish it off. For dinner tonight, I wanted to finish up with a couple of perishables, so I made myself a few cheesy peanut butter honey crunch wraps. Other than that, I've just been reading my book for the last couple hours, stretched, taking in this final night. This campsite does not have mosquitoes, which is insane compared to the last campsite. More windy, was full of them, probably because I'm on an island, but still, not a breath of wind, and not really any mosquitoes out. So on this note, I just wanted to say that this has so far been an awesome trip. I want to do a full wrap up tomorrow, but for a final night at camp, can't beat it. Woo! 6:37, earliest morning on the water. I've been getting so lucky with this weather on Lake Nipigon. It's made travel easy, it's made my time majestic. But the fishing has not been that good. I've trolled for over 60 kilometers so far. We got 10 kilometers left though, so let's see if we can pull one out in the fourth quarter. Going back to a topic from earlier, when you do a trip with a new person, you learn a lot about that person, of course, but then also their skills and knowledge of the outdoors. One thing I noticed about John is he has really good bird impersonations. He didn't do many on camera, but I was inspired to try my own. This is my eagle. We're coming around the peninsula and entering Gull Bay, the final destination for this trip. I'm also seeing buildings in the distance, which means we're re-entering civilization. Alright guys, I'm approaching the takeout and wrapping up this 12-day trip up here in northwestern Ontario. I'm lost for words. This trip had everything. It was a real pleasure hanging out with John. Watching him film was a true masterclass in nature videography. Everything from his setup to his thoughtful approach on wilderness travel and documenting it. He is the real deal, and his channel Lost Lakes is linked in the description for you to check out. Guys, thank you so much for watching. If you guys like this content, please consider subscribing. And if you want to grab a bug shirt, which literally saved my life on this trip, you can check it out on my website, as well as this hat and some other slick gear. But guys, thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you on the next one. All right, John left a cooler of treats. Unfortunately, he's not here to reap the rewards. Coke, sparkling water, Arizona green tea, chips. John, you know me too well. When I was packing up, some fishermen gave me some deer sausage and jerky. I love the hospitality of the north.